Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa, add this song to a new playlist.
Sure, what's the new playlist name?
Jack's Intro to Classic Rock.
Adding Stepping Stone by Jimi Hendrix to Jack's Intro to Classic Rock playlist.
Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you and soon he will love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hey, folks. How you doing? It's Danny Tisdale, and you're about to listen to the Danny Tisdale Show. I hope you're doing well on this beautiful, beautiful day as we try to have all the time and every day that we're on the show. And if it is overcast or rainy outside, we try to brighten it up with our conversation as we try to talk about everything that's going on in Harlem that we think you want to know about. And as we usually do before we get started, just talk a little in-house things. I know we just passed the Oscars not too yesterday or day before yesterday. Before that, it was the Black Panther movie, which I think I might be the only person in Harlem, in New York, in the United States that haven't seen it yet. Also, we have coming up a release of the new Luke Cage in Harlem by way of Netflix, about to hit anytime soon. This is going to be season 2. Tons going on. And before we get started, you know where to hit us up at twitter.com/HWMag. Also on Facebook. We got 2 sites on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/HWMag, and also at Harlem World Magazine. That's right. All the information you need to do, all the things you need to do in Harlem. And, of course, our website, harlemworldmag.com. Check us out, harlemworldmag.com. And don't forget also another new addition, all of our podcasts now are going to be on YouTube. I think we've loaded the last 2 years on YouTube now, and you can get the links on our site. And, of course, this great conversation that we're about to have will be on YouTube soon, and you can catch it there, but we'll post it on the website first at harlemworldmag.com, and you can check it out there. And let's get to it. I've been wanting to have this conversation for a little while. It seems like we've been trying to plan this conversation since the 1960s, but that's not true. It's just been almost a year. And then we were going to do it in February, and something happened, technical issues, and for Black History Month. And because every day is Black History Month, Black History Day. Of course, it made sense to do it today, and we're going to have a great conversation with our upcoming guests. And as we continue, as I said, to celebrate Black History Month in March, we're going to speak to Mr. Don James. And since 2007, Mr. James has served as a national writer, and he'll update us on whether he's still doing that for Detroit-based Real-Time Media, publisher of historic African-American newspapers, including Lee Bailey's Los Angeles-based electronic urban report, EURweb.com. You've heard about it. You know about it. He is also writing urban entertainment, sports, politics, and opinions. He also has written 2 film scripts, the later of which, No Ghosts of a God. James started Master Media Strategies Incorporated in the 1990s. He has a proven record as a media, public relations, marketing, writing services specialist for almost 30 years. He's also been I hope I'm getting this right, PR representative for Mr. Cuba Gooding Sr., who passed last year, and that's part of our conversation today. He also is a parent. He's a husband. He's been married for 28 years. I think that's a record in itself, and he has 3 children. And I hope, Mr. James, I didn't completely destroy your bio. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I was just wondering, who's that guy you're talking about? He sounds fantastic. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Did I get anything in the bio wrong, or I got most of it right?
No, you got most of it right. I was just going along mentally with that, but no, you got most of it right. And I love the part that you mentioned about Cuba Gooding Sr., who was a Harlemite and one of the greatest clients that I've had, and one of the greatest lead vocalists that I believe the world has ever known.
Well, and that's of course who we want to talk about, and I've got another surprise question that we'll talk about, but I'll follow up with that a little later. But I've read some bios here. I've read some descriptions of his history and life there. How do you describe Cuba Gooding Sr.? Because you spent a number of decades working together with him before he passed last year. How do you describe him?
Absolutely. I was Cuba's publicist for about 25, 26 years. Professionally, he was the lead vocalist for the Main Ingredient for 43 years. The Harlem-born R&B group.
Right.
Had some of the greatest songs that you can imagine. But he was the face. He was the face of the Main Ingredient. He was the voice of the Main Ingredient. He was the king of the Main Ingredient in the eyes of millions. And he wasn't the original lead singer. Donald McPherson was, right. And who was an outstanding, incredible vocalist. But Cuba took the group to a different level. Cuba took the group to a stratosphere. So professionally, he was outstanding vocalist. Personally, he was the husband of native New Yorker Shirley Sullivan Gooding. He's the father of 3 sons and 1 daughter. He was the grandfather of 8 children. He had a heart for a common man. And what I mean by that is he wasn't caught up in being a celebrity and all of that. He could relate to the common man on the street. And that's what I liked about him in many, many ways. He had other idiosyncrasies about him, but he was a multidimensional man.
I didn't know that. Of course, I've seen his son on TV and movies acting, but I'm really not that familiar with the senior. And you said that he had this common touch. And my next question, kind of the segue is, what was the key to his success? Is that what the key to his success was, his common touch, or just that well, of course he had to be talented to do the work he did, but what do you would say was the key to his success?
Well, I would say the key to his success was rooted right there in Harlem, and I just want to say that. Right. Yeah, because he was born there, he was raised there. He performed at the Power Theater as a 10-year-old. He won a contest there, and so he never wanted to be anything else but really a singer. He interesting enough, he wanted to be the next Nat King Cole. He wanted to be the next Frank Sinatra. He wanted to be the next Tony Bennett. I mean, he was a balladeer, and he just loved singing. When he was a kid, he used to sing in front of the radio that they had there in Harlem, and he would just sing and sing and sing. So I think the key was that early in life, he knew that he wanted to be a professional singer. He trusted God in the good times and the bad times to deliver him to the right places, and he got delivered to the right places quite a bit, and sometimes to the wrong places. But the good thing is that everything works together for good. So I think the key also was taking care of his vocal cords. He studied with, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Sherry Lewis, but Sherry Lewis had a...
No, I'm not.
she was a puppeteer in New York back in the 60s, and she had a national
Sherry
show.
Sherry Lewis.
Yeah, Sherry Lewis. And she was a Jewish woman, and before she got real big and had a national TV show with puppets, she taught singing lessons. And Cuba was one of her early pupils, and she taught him how to warm up, how to protect his vocal cords, how when you finish singing, how to protect your vocal cords after performing. And she just really showed him a lot about singing that he carried through him throughout his life. So I think that was the key to his success. But I think that he always wanted to be a star, and both as a lead vocalist and as a member of the Main Ingredient. But again, I'll go back to his roots in Harlem. When I talked with Cuba, I mean, it wasn't too long before he would start talking about Harlem and his love for Harlem. That was wherever he went in the world. When he was over in London, if he was down in Barbados, if he was in Canada, he always talked about being born and raised in Harlem. He wore it like a badge of courage, and he was a great ambassador of Harlem until his demise.
Well, and it's interesting that you brought that up because you're almost finishing my sentences and some of what I say because, of course, when I talk about the key to success, I was going to mention Harlem, and then you mentioned Harlem, and being born in Harlem as he was his parents involved in entertainment, in music in any way, or no, or not?
Not at all. Interestingly, his father was from Barbados, and he left Barbados real young, and he went to Jamaica, and he went to also work on the Panama Canal.
Wow.
And from there, his father became a merchant sailor, and he sailed around the world, and he ended up in Cuba before he came to Harlem, and he fell in love with a Cuban woman that was to have his child, and there were some circumstances where that didn't happen, and he left Cuba, and he promised that his firstborn child he would name Cuba.
There you go.
That's
okay.
Although you didn't ask me about that, but people always ask, is that his real name? But yeah, that's his real name. It's not a nickname, and it's not. Some people said Cuba, but it was Cuba, and his father's love for his father lived in Cuba for 11 years, but his father drove a cab in Harlem for years. He was a lieutenant in Marcus Garvey's organization.
Wow.
There, because we're talking back in probably the 1935.
Right.
His mother was from North Carolina, and she was basically a stay-at-home wife, but she also did domestic work sometimes. And she was the one that really pushed Cuba to sing. I mean, in terms of getting him singing lessons. But his father wasn't a musician, nor was his mother.
But sounds familiar that mom is there to support what child wants to do, and support that, and I hear that and understand that, and yeah, I was curious about that connection with the father's history in Cuba and then the son's name, so that does make sense. And I was thinking you're in Detroit now. I think at some point you were on the West Coast. So how did the two of you connect? If you were someplace else and he was in New York, or how did that all happen?
Yeah, I'm a native of Detroit, so I grew up on Motown and.
Okay, for the music.
But I heard the Main Ingredient, of course, when Donna McPherson was there. I mean, you've been my inspiration, and all of those. I mean, but then I moved.
Serious classics.
Oh, outstanding. And so I moved to Los Angeles from Detroit in the early 90s, maybe 90, 91. And I was at an event that was actually sponsored, and I was invited through Gladys Knight. And it wasn't a concert. It was a seminar or something that she was doing. And okay, excuse me, Cuba was there. Am I still there?
Yeah,
okay,
I can hear you.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. So I was invited to this event. Cuba was there. Cuba and the main ingredient. It was Luther Simmons, who was one of the original main ingredient, and Larry Moore, who's from New York. So that was the main ingredient at the time. So this was the early 90s. Cuba was introduced, and so at the end of the event, my wife asked me, she said, "Are you going to go over there and talk to him?" Because I was a publicist just starting off, and I said, "No, I'm not going to go over there. I'm not going to go over there, because he looks like, he's ready to go." She said, "Well, you know what? If you don't go over there, I'm going to go over there and tell him that you're too chicken to come over there and talk to him." And I said, well, no, don't do that. I don't do that, because then he's gonna wonder if I'm too chicken to come over and talk to him. How could I be his publicist? So I went over there, and I introduced myself and told him that I was a publicist and just wondered, did he need a publicist? So he looked me up and down and said, he didn't have a publicist at the time, and he gave me his information. I called him in a couple of days, and he had a couple of events coming up within the next week or two. And so he told me about them. I was able to generate him some publicity, some real nice publicity that he really liked. And so from there, something else came up. And so I just became his publicist. I did writing for him. And we just became friends through the years. It wasn't just business. I mean, we became friends. But that's how I met him. If it hadn't been for my wife, I have to give her credit, because she always lets me know that she's the one that made the connection. Because I really wasn't going to say anything to him, and she said if I didn't,
stepped right in.
Yeah, she was going to step in, and I'm so glad I listened to my wife on that one. I have a good wife.
That sounds like it in a key moment, especially at that time. And Don, I just want to let our listeners know they're listening to the Danny Tisdale Show, and of course, I'm Danny Tisdale on Harlem World Radio, the number one company in the world for all things Harlem since 2003. And without any further delay, we're going right back to Mr. Don James to talk about his incredible career and how it involves Harlem's Cuba Gooding Sr. And I wanted to follow right back up with that, Mr. James. And I'm always interested in how things work and success in people's life and in their lives, and how they remain happy and have their career. So I'm always curious, and when I am curious, I ask questions. So if I understand this correctly, you've been married for 28 years. This is my surprise question.
Okay.
You've been married for 28 years, and let's see, should I say this or not? I'm going to put it this way. I know someone who's been married 8 times. Now,
wow.
What is the success to being married for 28 years?
The success is just you have to have selective hearing. You have to choose. You have to choose your battles.
Right.
You can't let things get personal where you forget. You got to have the foundation of love. When you have it's like a tree. It's like a tree. When you have firm roots, that tree can stand up through a storm and everything. So, it's been good. We have our ups and downs, but whatever we do, we see through it. So, but again, it's selective hearing sometimes, and not getting into every little spit or spat.
Right.
That type of thing. I mean, I've never ever laid my hands on my wife. I've never cussed her. I've never cussed her out. She's never cussed me out. I mean, it might have been a few words like damn or like that, but nothing like, the heavy duty cuss.
Right.
Yeah, and we've just
that says a lot.
Kids. We have 3 kids, and my kids have never seen us, physically fight each other. They've heard a few arguments, but it has never really gotten to the point of out of hand. And she's my most trusted friend, and we just make it work. And then, you always have eyes and you look and everything, but you just have to control your eyes and control everything, and just know that everything that you see that looks good is not good, and in the long run, it's not what you're about, and you just go with that. So
keep on moving, keep on stepping.
Happily married. As I said, it'll be 29 years. We have an anniversary coming up, and then the next year will be the big 30, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Well, congratulations on that note, and we love success in business and let's say private and publicly, and much love and props to you. And I want to segue that into the question about success in your publicity career. Kind of what has been the secret sauce of that success, because I know that decision makers and influencers and people who starting their career, who are in their career, listen in. So what would you give them, Mr. James, as tips who want to be the superpower kind of publisher that you are? I'm sorry, publicist that you are. What tips do you give them, or what insight would you give them to have the kind of long-term successful career you've had?
Be a strong writer, for one. You got to be a strong writer, and if you're not a strong writer, you need to have somebody, because the written word is the foundation of publicity, PR. You have to do press releases. You have to do media alerts. You may have to write a speech out, talking points. You may have to do a letter for a client. So that I would always say, if you want to be a publicist or media, be a strong writer. And if you aren't a strong writer, get someone around you that can be a strong communicator. That you have to be able to talk with media editors and individuals that make a decision and know your product. I mean, know Cuba Senior always had this, and I always credit him for helping me become stronger. But his is that you can't sell a secret, and so what that means is that if you have a skill, if you have a talent,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, if you have a skill, if you have a talent, and you can't generate that to someone where it turns into dollars or cents, or if you can't market it, then it becomes a secret. So writing, being a good communicator, don't be intimidated when you hear no, because you're going to hear more no's than yes when you talk to a lot of media outlets. Yeah, you can't have thin skin, because sometimes people aren't going to call you back. Don't be afraid to be fired. I've been fired because sometimes you work for celebrities, and they, when they're looking out for maybe why something's not going right, then they look at, publicists. Why am I not on the cover of Jet?
Right.
Why am I not on the cover of Ebony? And
how come you didn't take care of business and put me on the cover, get me on the cover, talk to your people? Absolutely. Right.
Such a person was on Essence magazine. How come I? So I've been fired. I was never fired by Cuba, but I think you aren't worth your worth unless you've been fired, because sometimes publicists, we are the first to go.
Right. Because we know it's not the star. It's got to be the publicist.
It's not. Yeah, and then, sometimes you just run into people that have big expectations. They just think that I want to get on BET. I want to get on the Tonight Show. I want to and no record out, or they have a record. Yeah, no record out, but they want to get on that, and so expectations. So, in the beginning, it bothered me a lot, and all, but as I worked through this, so just if you want to be a publicist, I mean, it's a great career. Yeah, but that, and it can be very thankless. And I'll say the song that Janet Jackson had a song said, "What have you done for me lately?" Because you could do something great for somebody for 2 years. I mean, get them the greatest publicity, and then they want to know, what have you done for me lately? So maybe you didn't do anything for the last 3 months. So what have you done for me lately? So don't be afraid if someone asks you that question. But I love it, and it's what I do best. But the thing about me is that I've been able to incorporate the PR into writing, because I'm also a national writer, and so therefore national writer, and so I don't just depend on generating publicity for individuals. I also write, and my writing has been picked up in Canada. I've written through the Caribbean, so I've been blessed that way.
You're writing all over, right?
Yeah. And I want to write in Harlem. Hint, 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 hint.
Well, you don't have to hint with me. Just send it, and it's posted. Let me tell you.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that right now. But, that is excellent advice, and I don't want to let you think that I'm joking, that anytime you want to send something to us, please do. We'll post it.
Okay, great. I'm going to hold you that, because I consider myself a Harlem Night. I've been around Cuba Gooding Sr. so much, and he's told me so much about Harlem, and I've been there a couple times. So I just love the vibe of Harlem, and we'll probably, my wife and I, we'll probably be coming over there when the weather breaks and everything, because we just
please do.
We just love Harlem, and there's a restaurant in there. I can't think of the name of it, but right now, but it's my wife. She just loved it, and we must have ate there about 5 times the last time we were there.
She does love it.
Angel, it's Angels. I don't want to
Angel of Harlem.
Angel of Harlem. I don't want to give anybody a free plug, but that I love that place.
Oh, fantastic, and and you're not by yourself. But, Don, we're down to the last, believe it or not, almost 2 minutes and almost 3 minutes. And I wanted to, for those listening out there who want to, find out more about you, go to your Facebook or your website. Can you give listeners out there, the information where they can, keep up with you and check you out and see what you're doing and more of the articles that you write?
Yeah, my website right now is under construction and reconstruction, because there's some positive things going on this year that will involve Cuba Senior. But probably the best way I'll just call me. I pick up 313 area code 675-0037. That's the best way I pick up, and if it's a number, if it sounds like a bill collector, I won't pick up. But 313 area.
You do like the rest of us, right?
Absolutely. 313 area code 675-0037. My company is Master Media Strategies.
Thank you.
And that's what I work under. And as soon as I get our website up about another month, I just want to say this, if I may, that the
Please.
1 year anniversary of Cuba Senior is coming up. He passed April 20th of last year, so that's coming up, and then his birth would have been April 27th. So just stay tuned.
Well, I hope that you'll be back on the show around that time, and I'll email you to follow up so that you can we can remind each other. But we are already at that moment, and Mr. James, thank you for your patience and staying with us and being on the show today, and I'll be inviting you back for April for that anniversary. Thank you, sir, for being on the show. Talk to you soon.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you, Harlem.
All right. Thank you. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, don't forget to hit us up on the website, of course, at harlemworldmag.com and on our social media. And don't forget to check out Harlem Youth. Harlem Youth Publishing Empowerment. It's our new nonprofit that's gone officially. I'm sorry, it's not a nonprofit, but check it out and we'll update you. Bye-bye.
Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa, add this song to a new playlist.
Sure, what's the new playlist name?
Jack's Intro to Classic Rock.
Adding Stepping Stone by Jimi Hendrix to Jack's Intro to Classic Rock playlist.
Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you and soon he will love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime. Required listening with Amazon Music.
Dad music again?
The greatest guitarist of all time.
Wait, who?
Alexa, add this song to a new playlist.
Sure, what's the new playlist name?
Jack's Intro to Classic Rock.
Adding Stepping Stone by Jimi Hendrix to Jack's Intro to Classic Rock playlist.
Amazon Music, the simplest way to listen to the music you and soon he will love. New customers start your 30-day free trial at amazonmusic.com. Renews automatically, cancel anytime.